Storm, an informative program focusing solely on severe weather awareness. We'll visit with National Weather Service professional personnel, debunk weather myths, and introduce you to new technology we use to keep you safe and informed during severe weather. Now, here are the hosts, your KX Storm team.
Welcome to Stronger Than the Storm with the KX Storm team. Well, we're heading into another exciting and sometimes dangerous season of severe storms, and we want you to feel ready. I'm meteorologist Tom Schrader, along with my fellow meteorologists Dave Older and Amber Wheeler.
And as we progress into summer severe weather season, we want to give you tips on how to keep yourself safe so you feel prepared and not scared.
And rest assured that the KX Storm team will always be here in the event of dangerous weather.
Now, perhaps the most scariest part of severe weather is the tornado. So let's break down some stats here. In North Dakota, we averaged 23 tornadoes a year. Since 1950, the most ever recorded for a single year was 61 in 1991. Looking back over the data, we found that most of those tornadoes happen between 4 and 9 p.m. And based on our climatology, we mainly see them between May and August, with June being the most active month. In the United States, we see more tornadoes than anywhere in the world. Meteorologist Dave Holder explains why.
Well, the Great Plains are a wonderful breeding ground for supercells and their associated tornadoes. Now, these storms are a product of sprawling mid-latitude cyclones that swing across the mid-latitudes of Earth, and just like their hurricane cousins, try to maintain an energy balance between the tropics and the poles. So let's take a closer look at the dynamics of one of these weather makers. Now, it just so happens that we had the quintessential mid-latitude cyclone across the country and centered over North Dakota just a few days ago, last weekend. Now, we talk about the different air masses needed to create violent thunderstorms, and here you can see there are tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings in Iowa. So that's what we're going to focus on. Now, with the mid-latitude cyclone and its associated frontal boundaries, it's easy to spot the differences here. A cold, dry air mass up against a warm, moist one. Now, where does the moisture come from? I'm glad you asked. Now, these systems can continuously draw up warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico, and this is a big reason for the abundance of thunderstorms across the Great Plains. So let's go ahead and follow the path of a warm, moist air parcel in that air mass from the Gulf of Mexico into the mid-latitude cyclone. We'll hypothetically say it is drawn into the developing severe thunderstorm and the tornadoes that are ongoing along an advancing cold front here in Iowa. Now, our air parcel's energy is used to help fuel the thunderstorm. And so we watch it get pulled up into the updraft here, and as it does so, that energy is used up by the storm, creating violence in the storm, and also leading to that hail and tornado formation. And of course, our air parcel now, without its energy, it's going to be colder. It's spit out as cooler air, or maybe some hail, or just some cold rain. Now, what if that air parcel, by the way, isn't drawn up into the severe thunderstorms and tornadoes? Well, it might get caught up in the center of the mid-latitude cyclone, raised up in elevation along the north side of it, cooled, and turned into snow. And again, that's kind of where we were at here in North Dakota, with snow possibly falling over your neighborhood during last week's blizzard.
Well, when it comes to tornadoes, there's a lot of advice floating around out there about how to stay safe.
And sometimes that advice can come from well-meaning sources and still be wrong.
So we've compiled a list of the most common myths that should be debunked right away. First up, it is a myth that a certain corner of your basement is safer than another when a tornado hits. Now, I remember this as a kid myself, and studies show, though, that the safest place to be is in a basement, but there's no evidence to support that a certain corner is more safe than another.
And you know, during the Skywarn presentations, they tell you that if you go to the corner of the basement, sometimes things end up in the corner. You get buried, and that's part of that. Now, the next myth that needs to be dispelled right now is that you need to open your windows when a tornado is moving toward your house. Now, the thought process is when the tornado gets close, your house could explode. The only thing that happens when you open up the window is it puts you in danger. It allows debris to flow freely through your home, and it can hurt you.
So don't do it. And we've all seen this one in movies. Never ever hide beneath an underpass from a tornado. You can be impaled by debris. The most ideal place outdoors is in a ditch or a low-lying area while covering your head. And when it comes to tornado safety outdoors, remember that there's never a 100% safe option, just less dangerous ones.
Oh, but how do you know when to be prepared for severe thunderstorms, or tornadoes for that matter? You'll get noticed when we have the potential for hail larger than an inch, winds higher than 58 miles per hour, and if tornadoes or flooding are possible.
Now, sometimes it can be just one of those hazards, or sometimes you can have them both. And you don't need to have hail and wind. It can be either wind or hail. Well, a watch is issued when conditions are favorable. They're usually for entire counties and for several hours. When you see a watch, you'll want to make note of the time and think about where you're going to be during that time frame. Now, you'll need a plan wherever you're at if severe weather strikes.
And you'll get a warning when the storm is actually happening. This is when you'll want to deploy the plans that you made earlier that day. Thousands of campers will be out in the open during severe storm season this year. So no matter how strapped down you think you are, there's no safe place for a severe storm, much less a tornado.
And now to get the warnings for your area or for wherever you travel, we have tailored an app to do the thinking for you. You'll get all the watches and warnings sent right to your phone, no matter where you are, even if you're in the middle of the lake.
It's a good
So
deal.
coming up on Stronger Than the Storm, we're going to be heading to Norman, Oklahoma and speak to the person responsible for our severe weather outlooks.
And later, most
Advertising campaign. Go to kxnet.com, results driven, and see what our team can do for you.
That was funny. Yeah. That's a sick bike.
Boys,
Miss Sanderson?
see you Monday.
No way.
Welcome back to Stronger Than the Storm. We rely heavily on the Storm Prediction Center and their severe weather outlooks when it comes to getting what the potential dangers are for the day.
Okay, you're probably familiar with these maps. The severe storm risk is broken down into 5 categories. Now, Category 1 would be the lowest risk for severe storms, with 5 being the highest, and probably numerous storms.
Now, the folks who make up these maps, they're out of Norman, Oklahoma. That's where the Storm Prediction Center is located. Now, I spoke with Bill Bunting there. He's the chief of forecast operations, so he oversees the team of meteorologists who make those maps. And I asked him, you know, plain and simple, what are your goals with these maps? And of course, he was saying that he wants to get the same message across to millions of people, and we know that's really hard because the word slight means something different to me than to you and to you, and we've all had this issue when it comes to communicating that.
Right, yeah, you know, like when I'm on the air and I'm doing a forecast and we have a slight risk from the Storm Prediction Center, but the other forecast from the Weather Service may say slight risk of severe thunderstorms. They mean different things.
Right, and of course the difference is, are we looking at the intensity of storms or are we looking at the coverage of storms? And I think that's what confuses people. Oftentimes we say an isolated risk. Well, what is isolated versus a marginal risk, and is that comparable to a widespread risk versus a high risk?
Absolutely. It can be really confusing, and so the folks at the Storm Prediction Center, they've been looking to change this, and here's what Bill had to tell me.
We are working closely with social scientists across many different domains. Our goal would be to use the expression measure twice, cut once, to really make sure we understand how best to communicate risk. And the answer will probably be that we can't just use words. It'll be a mixture of words, colors, numbers, and eventually icons that will help us to communicate risk across a broad spectrum of people who rely on us for information.
And you know, Bill used a really good example when he was talking about that. He said, we all know the Wi-Fi signal. We know what that means. We know, you know that you can get Wi-Fi. So we'll probably see more icons that mean the same thing to us rather than words that can mean many different things. Now, Bill did say something to me that was really interesting when it came to survivors of storms. Take a listen to what he said.
Studies have shown that the people who survive are those that knew the storm was coming, had a plan, and put that plan into action when it mattered most. So in the end, we hope to motivate people to take the proper actions to keep themselves and their families safe.
Okay, when it comes to tornadoes, they're meticulously tracked by radar, not only here at the KX Storm Team, but also the National Weather Service. So I sat down with the man who's been in charge of those tornado warnings for years. We've seen a lot over the years. This is John Paul Martin from the National Weather Service, the warning coordination meteorologist. We really have seen a lot of stuff over the years.
Tom, good to be with you. And let me tell you something that's most important to the National Weather Service is this relationship that we have at the National Weather Service with KX. You're there for us to get our message out. You know, so few people get the message directly from us. We rely on you to get it to the folks. And you know, one other thing, we've been out on some damage surveys together, right? Up in the Minot area, you've come out and joined me on the damage survey.
We've seen tornadoes. We've seen blizzards. What else?
Floods. Anybody in the state of North Dakota knows all about all those things, right?
Well, let's talk about severe weather, okay? Being the warning coordination meteorologist, what is your main goal here, your main duties?
Well, it's working primarily with the media, right? Being that link, that ambassador between the media and the National Weather Service, so our relationship, and also ensuring that in the office, the forecasters are up on the philosophy of warning. We have a science officer who takes care of all the science for us, right? But there is some philosophical part of issuing warnings. That's where the warning coordination meteorologist comes in.
Have you thought about over the years how many lives you might have saved by a warning? I mean, just in the back of your mind?
You know, it's impossible to know, right? But we hope that people are heeding our warnings and that they are doing what they need to do to stay safe, and that we can credit injuries prevented and life saved to our warnings.
So let's get to the warnings.
Yeah.
When you're starting to think about, okay, we have some storms forming, we may be looking at tornado warning here, what are you looking for?
Well, we're looking at radar is a critical tool that we have. One of the many tools, but it's critical because with radar, we can see right inside of the thunderstorm. We can take out the motion of the storm. Which way is that storm moving? Take that out and see if there's rotation. What's happening inside the storm with hail spikes, hail cores, a high reflectivity, and what we call storm relative motion. That's this rotation that the radar can detect. You know, it doesn't really see anything. It doesn't have eyes, right?
Right.
But it detects these things that help us warn people.
So what are the things that really get your attention thinking, hey, we may have a tornado forming here?
It's called gate-to-gate shear. That's where we have high returns of motion away from the radar, right next to high returns right next to that toward the radar. Away and toward, that's rotation. Now the thing is, a lot of thunderstorms rotate, but that's up at 30, 40,000 feet. The question is that rotation, is that spin going to get down to the ground so that what we call a tornado?
So when you get enough, at certain levels, certain readings, then you say, okay, now we have to issue a warning.
Exactly right. So we see this rotation, say, at 40,000 feet. Then we see it at 30,000. We see it at 20,000. So it's coming down in the storm. And so that's when we say we need to pull the trigger on that warning. If we pull the trigger every time we see any kind of rotation in a storm, you're going to have tornado warnings all the time. And it'll desensitize people so that when there's really something going on, they won't take it seriously. So we want to be careful not to overwarn.
Now, maybe you could explain to them what the difference is between a radar indicated and verified or on the ground.
Right, sure. Another critical part of our warning operation is people, the reports that we get from people. But the old Weather Service, and I'm embellishing a little bit here, but the old National Weather Service back in the 60s and 70s, the folks would kind of wait for a report and then issue the warning. We don't do that anymore, right? With this new radar, the Doppler radar that we've had now since the late 1980s, we can get that warning out 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe even more ahead of time to give people a chance to get to their basement or whatever they need to do.
Because it's too late. If it's already down on the ground, it may be on somebody's house.
It's too late for that. But here's the thing. People say, well, you issued the warning, you issued a tornado warning, so I saw a tornado, but I didn't call you because you issued the warning, you knew it was there. No. When it says radar indicated, that means with every piece of evidence I have, I believe there's a tornado, I still need you to call me and tell me, yeah, here's what I saw.
Let's move on quickly, if we could, to like a bow echo. Why is that a big deal?
These individual thunderstorms, single cell storms, often form into a line of storms. Sometimes wind comes from high in the atmosphere, almost jet stream level, at the back of the line of storms, and it pushes out the middle of the line of storms. The bow, faster. So it takes on this arch. It kind of looks like a bow and arrow. And so whenever you see that on radar, it's an indication of very high wind. Most of the time you see a bow echo on radar, we're going to have a warning out for it because of wind. Because of wind. One final question, if I could. On satellite, when you see an overshooting top, sometimes you'll say that on TV. What's that mean? Overshooting top is, you know, in a thunderstorm, there's upward motion, air moving up, and air moving down. Sometimes that updraft is so powerful, Tom, we're talking 80, 100 miles an hour updraft in a thunderstorm, that it breaks through the weather, the top of the weather-producing atmosphere, and it overshoots the top. It's a bubble of cloud up above the top of the storm, and it's a big storm. It's an indication that's a mean one. That's a mean one. You know, we're getting into severe weather season here soon. Yeah. We have Skywarn training coming up, and we're going to be talking about that on KX all the time. But John Paul, thank you so much. Thanks, Tom. Good to be with you. Can I say something personal here? Yeah. I mean, I've known John Paul for 25, 26 years, I think. And besides, and you can tell from just watching, nicest guy on the planet. But he's so good at what he does. And it's nice that we have this resource and we can call him and talk to him. And they talk to us and they give us information that we can relay to the public. And he does most of the Skywarn programs. And it's fascinating because he just talks in a way that little kids can understand. You know? That's a gift. It's a gift. And so he's just a wealth of knowledge. Yeah, we love JP here. So grateful to have him in-house. It was fun to watch you guys chat there. Coming up on Stronger Than the Storm, we speak with a local emergency manager
Let you know how to prepare for the day ahead.
To give you the most accurate forecast.
Anytime, on any screen.
We'll give you the latest road reports.
We'll let you know what's been canceled.
We'll be here to keep you safe.
Your KX Storm Team, putting North Dakota's weather first.
Well, many entities, including the KX Storm Team, rely on one another to create a well-oiled machine that helps keep the public informed at all times. Now, one of those agencies is the Emergency Management. I caught up with the Ward County Emergency Manager to show how much of an integral part they are to public safety.
It goes way beyond weather. We're kind of a jack of all trades, master of some.
Emergency management duties change quite often, but weather is a major aspect.
We are responsible for response, recovery, protection, prevention, and mitigation when it comes to disasters, emergencies, incidents, anything like that.
To do their job, they're in constant communication with other agencies, like the National Weather Service, which is something they have in common with the KX Storm Team. Contact with the Weather Service allows people like Jen Wichman to make informed decisions, like when to trigger outdoor sirens.
If we have incoming severe weather warnings rather than watches, the sirens should go off. And typically the kind of catalyst for that is if the National Weather Service will call our dispatch center.
These sirens are loud, but not loud enough for people in their homes to hear. They're meant to signal those outside to go inside and seek shelter in cases of severe weather like a tornado.
When those sirens go off, what that kind of prompts the general population, what it should prompt them to do is to go inside, first of all. And if they have that opportunity to go inside, that they should go, if they have a designated area that they can shelter in place. Or if you don't have one identified, kind of the place you want to go is in the very center of any particular building, away from exterior walls, nowhere with windows, anything like that.
Emergency management also works closely with law enforcement in case they're the ones who trigger the sirens. Still, the interagency partnerships are what keep everyone as safe as possible.
I highly recommend having some sort of weather app or something of the like on their cell phones, or having the news on their TV.
Ward County also uses an alert system called HyperReach, and that's where residents can opt in to be part of it. Now, for a link to do that, click on this story on our website, kxnet.com.
We have the latest technology here at KX News to keep you safe during dangerous weather. One way we can get instant alerts to you is with our KX Storm Team app. You can download it using this QR code that will remain at the bottom right-hand side of your screen for the remainder of the show. Just open your camera, point it to this code, and a website will pop up showing you how to download our app. Pretty neat.
And there are other tools that we'll use here to keep you safe, like our 3D radar, where we can dive down to the ground level to see how tall a storm is. And we can even slice into that storm to see what's inside and what exactly is coming for your house.
And we have some other tools that show us which way the winds inside a thunderstorm are rotating. So that way we can see the intense winds a tornado produces. We can even see if there's debris lifted from the ground into the air from a tornado. Amazing.
And a tool you'll see a lot around North Dakota this summer is the KX News Chaser. Complete with cameras and the ability to go live anywhere, we'll be chasing the storms not just in the studio, but out in the field as well. We are lucky enough to have our own seasoned storm chaser. Dave Holder chases storms for us here, and you've got a lot of experience.
Yeah, I've been doing this for almost 2 decades now, which is kind of crazy to think about. But like you were talking about with JP here in the earlier interview, you can have all the tools in the world, but sometimes it's best to just be out there observing what's going on.
Eyeballs are better.
With the thunderstorm, you confirm this, and you know that's a really important tool in our toolkit, so to speak. So what is it about watching thunderstorms? Well, it's watching them form here on a hot, muggy day. It can be an exhilarating spectacle, but what is it that we're actually looking out for? Now, a lot of thunderstorm development, or lack thereof, depends on the cap. Now, you may have heard this word, but let's dig a little more into it. Now, typically here, as I show this graph to you, temperatures will go down as you go up in elevation. Now, you could think about this like mountain snow versus valley rain, or like the ice crystals that form in contrails in sub-zero air from airplanes at cruising altitude. However, this isn't always the case. Now, oftentimes, there's a layer of air just above our heads, a few thousand feet, where temperatures actually decrease as you go up in elevation. I'm sorry, temperatures actually increase as you go up in elevation. Now, this is called a capping inversion, or more simply, a cap. Now, let's place a bar over our inversion layer and use it as our cap. Now, the sun's rays heat the Earth, warming the surface below. And as the day progresses, energy builds up, kind of like shaking a can of soda that's full. Energy continues to build up across the surface here, but the energy gets trapped. It can't rise up any higher than that inversion layer. Now, let's look at some cloud examples here. At first, as the afternoon progresses and temperatures warm up, we're going to be seeing clouds develop in the form of cumulus. These are taken from whatsthiscloud.com. And you can see these flat cumulus clouds begin to grow vertically as the cap arose. You can see the cap now is thinner as the day progresses. Now, what happens when the cap actually breaks? When there's no more cap, we look out at a bigger perspective here, and the cloud starts growing. Lots of vertical development here. Our cumulus clouds begin to show this vertical development as all this warm surface air rises. And many times these cumulus clouds are described as agitated because they completely close to breaking the cap, if not completely breaking the cap. And now we take a look at a further distance here. This is a cumulonimbus cloud that has fully broken the cap, has developed, and can become violent with tornadoes and hail as well.
You know, it's kind of a strange thing, at least that we all deal with. Sometimes it's hot, it's humid, we know there's a cap, we bring everybody in, we've got everything all set up, and nothing happens.
Yeah, you're just waiting for that cap to, we call it bust a cap.
Right. And the thing about it, there's no way to directly measure a cap. We can send our balloons out in the atmosphere and see where that inversion layer is, how strong that inversion cap is, but there's no way to actually know if it's going to break without actually going out in the field and watching these storms literally with your own eyes break the cap and rise up. And it's pretty fun watching them too once they do break the cap and you can see them exploding up into the air.
And you know, one thing else I'd like to point out, and we talked about it briefly a little bit ago, the Skywarn training programs. And the National Weather Service puts them on. They're free. And John Paul Martin, who we talked to a little bit earlier, he does most of them, and I'm not sure he does all of them, but it is a great program that doesn't cost you a penny, and you're going to learn all about severe thunderstorms and tornadoes and flash floods and lightning, but it's presented in a way that even your kids can understand. I go to them every year just for a refresher course.
Yeah, they're really good at explaining things and again, kind of breaking it down, taking the really complicated science and bringing it down so we can all ingest it.
And you can get the information on where they're going to be at the National Weather Service website homepage.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we hope that this show helped you feel prepared heading into summer severe weather season. And as always, we'll be here every single storm helping you navigate this new season. Be sure to save KXNet.com and your favorites so you can check on all of our weather updates.